Hey, everybody, and welcome to Beefmaster Banner. We are your host, Josh Morrison and Jared Strickland. What's going on, Jared?
Sitting here praying for a rain.
Yeah, I know you told me y'all been scary dry. We finally got some rain here, so I'm thankful for that. But hopefully you'll get some soon because when I was out there, it didn't look good.
Yeah, it ain't got any better since you left. But most of this whole part of West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee, we're getting in pretty serious drought.
Well,
So
hopefully that'll change very soon. Normally we go over sales, but this month we're not going to have any, so we're just going to bypass that. Tonight we're going to welcome Jerry Thomas of J&T Farms. Come on in, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Doing great, man.
So I've known you for a long time, Jerry, but there'll be several folks here listening that may have not ever heard your story or anything. But just if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and your history with history in the cattle business.
Okay. I grew up in rural West Tennessee on a small family farm. It was pretty much like anybody else's farm during that time period. We had 200 or 300 hogs, 60, 70 cattle, and 500 or 600 acres of row crop. Both my parents taught school. My dad coached basketball and football. After high school, I attended University of Tennessee at Martin and graduated in 1987 with an agribusiness degree. My wife, Tammy, and I married in 1992. We both worked full-time and raised cattle. By the mid-90s, we had about 125 mama cows, and then we were backgrounding and feeding out 200 to 300 heifers a year. A man in Lexington, Tennessee named Guy Walker kind of helped us, kind of mentored us in the cattle business, and he would ship our fats and taught us how to feed and how fat to get them and all those things. During that time, we fed everything from shell corn and tenderloin to Eggo Waffles and ramen noodles. And we did that until Guy Walker passed in the early 2000s. And that we kind of lost our connection on shipping our fats and getting them sold and all those kind of things. So that pretty much ended that. We just went straight cow calf after that. And quit public work in 1997, farmed a little while. Farming led me to the timber business, and I did that 20 years. So that's pretty much a pretty good summary of me.
So when you were doing when you had the 120 head of mama cows, what were they? What were you running?
Commercial cows with Charolais bull.
Okay. And what brought you to the Beefmaster breed? I mean, what I guess what was the deciding factor there when you decided you wanted to start breeding Beefmasters?
We had a Beefmaster bull in the early 90s. At one time, when we first started, we had a Beefmaster bull and a Limousine bull. And so we always loved the eared cattle. And then I guess probably in the mid 2000s, when I was cutting timber, we'd go by Don Bailey's Four Seasons nursery, and Taylor was a little boy, and he would pick and play with him and tell him about his cows. And so Don Bailey is pretty much the reason that we jumped into the Beefmaster deal. He talked Taylor into wanting to come out there and look at them, and we went out there and looked at them one New Year's Day that it was colder and I don't know what. And Taylor and I both bought a bred heifer, and that's kind of where it started.
Okay. All right. Cool deal. I was kind of curious where that all started. So that's cool. And it's interesting you talk about Eggo Waffles and things like that. I have heard of some very few people around here doing it, but I have heard of some people doing it. I guess you did that with some success.
That was the most economical feed we had ever fed. There was a guy about an hour from us towards Memphis that had the contract with the Kellogg's factory in Memphis, and he got the waste, and he had a 1,000-head feedlot under roof with a flush system and concrete bunks and slatted floors and the whole deal. So we heard about that somewhere. I think maybe a dairy that we had bought bottle calves from maybe cued us in onto him, and we started buying feed. And those Eggo Waffles were 12 at that time. I don't know what they are now because he lost the contract. You know, when somebody finds something good, somebody bigger knocks you out eventually. But those things were 12% protein and 20% fat. And
Wow.
once you got your cattle acclimated to them, I mean, you could put some tons of fat on their side.
Well, I find it interesting you talking about that. I remember with Extension, we took a trip up to Tosh Farms, which they're a big, hog operation, that grows out hogs. And they took us into their feed mill, and I mean, they were unloading semi-loads of peanut butter and 50-gallon drums and M&Ms and cereal and everything that I guess they mass produce and bulk or whatever. And if it goes out of date or couldn't get it sale, they would reuse it in their feed or whatever. And it blew my mind what kind of system they had using all of that. And they were telling us that maybe it was 30% or something like that of their feed ended up being a byproduct of some out of date food or something. So I thought that was pretty neat. And that kind of reminded me of that.
Right. Well, during that time, we fed corn gluten, Eggo Waffles, and a little bit of cotton tailings. And that made a really good complete feed. And it was high energy, high fat. The co-op came and tested it one time. They were going to show me that their 486 feed was significantly better. And a couple of weeks went by and I never did hear from them. And I thought, well, I wonder whatever happened to that test. So I went over there and asked them. They said, well, our feed, we couldn't beat you.
Probably couldn't beat you on price either.
Well, that was it. That they were going to sell me a better product, more complete product for a cheaper price, and they were going to show me how. And I thought, boy, I don't know if you can, but I welcome you to come out here and try. Everybody likes to save money, but it didn't work out in their favor.
Yeah.
The only drawback to that feed was we didn't have a tub grinder at that time, and Tammy and I fed all them fats by hand.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we put it all in a dump trailer, and we would go get it once a week, and fed it by hand. So, there's pros and cons to everything.
There is, but that had to be really cost efficient. I guess that's the word I'm trying to find. I mean,
that was during the time when the first time we probably saw $5 corn right there in the mid 90s. So the waffle deal, it was like a lifesaver for me.
Well, I guess to kind of get back on the Beefmaster side of things, you was talking about, having a bull, Beefmaster bull kind of got you in the 90s, got you started and all that. I see, I'm sure several people see bulls that you have and catalogs online, but what are the main herd bulls you're using now and promoting, and is there semen available for those?
Right now we're using Game Day, which I bought from Clark. He's a half brother to Game Changer and Game On, homozygous polled. He's doing a great job for us. We got Big Tex, which was a Frenzel bull that I bought during my days with BOF. He really works well on pedigreed cattle, adds a lot of muscle. He's really straight topped and super thick, great feet. And then I got the Rock bull that we raised. He's polled, high velocity out of a Dreamcatcher 509. He's super thick, moderate framed. I kind of use him on larger frame cows that I want to thicken up. He does a super job on those. Then we have the CJ's Power Play Bull, which is a brother to Rolex. He's an Adrenaline 509. It's got good carcass data, polled, black. And then my newest bull is a bull that's named Bet on Brady. I talked the Emmons into let me name him after Tom Brady, the quarterback. He's big bone, big footed, lots of muscle, long as can be, clean underneath. And he's just one of the tools that I want to use to get to where I want to be.
Now, what's he out of?
He is a Bubba's son out of a King George Catching a Dream. So they got Catching a Dream from in our second production sale, and so he kind of ties into what I'm doing.
Is that the black bull I seen? The young
It
black
is.
bull?
It
Okay.
is.
Yeah, he was really sharp when I seen him when he was young.
Now, something else I want to ask you, Jerry, just out of curiosity on my part, Game Day, is he also homozygous black, or is he just homozygous pole?
He's only homozygous pole.
Okay. I didn't know if he was or not.
No, he's homozygous pole. We use him. He's wonderful to use on cows. It's got a little color. All of his calves are solid, big topped, lots of length, pretty clean underneath, and every single calf we've had out of him has been polled. So that's kind of where we are with him. He's pretty much just a safe bet.
It's good to have one of those.
Mm.
It's always good to have one of those.
Are you offering any semen on those bulls?
Have semen available on all those bulls except for Power Play. I haven't collected the Adrenaline 509 bull.
Okay. Well, sounds like you got a real good lineup of bulls there. Y'all definitely need to check them out for those that are listening. I guess kind of switching gears a little bit. Are there any specific cows you'd like to talk about? I know there for the longest, Wicked Witch was a cornerstone and in your program. Are there any others you'd like to talk about?
Well, we duplicated her, so we still have that line going. And then I've got some females and a bull of a really nice Collier Farms cow. Her ID number is CF7348, and she's a Sugar Britches Diamond Maiden female. And I've got some rock daughters that are polled out of her that are sure enough fancy. And we have the Danica female, which is a genetic sister to Oasis. We've got a Captain Sugar daughter out of her. And then a cow that's really done a good job here lately. I haven't flushed her yet. I tried to IVF her, but I didn't do any good. Is a Masterpiece 509. She's had 3 really good calves in a row. The first one was out of Rolex. The second one was out of my Adrenaline 509, which is Power Play. That heifer is that big, long neck, pretty heifer that was in my ad. She'll be in our sale.
The one you're talking about, that's 12 over 17.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is correct. And her last calf is a solid red and polled, clean sheathed Game Day calf. That's what kind of is surprising in this Beefmaster breed. You got a bull as black as Game Day and a cow as black as this Masterpiece 509, and I got a red calf as red as any L2 calf you've ever seen.
You just never know, do you?
You never know.
Never know. Well, that's good. So kind of playing off that, and I guess kind of going, kind of staying with that, I feel sure that you have goals in mind for the future of your herd and your business. You want to tell us maybe some goals you have set for, maybe in the next few years or on down the road than that?
I guess my first goal would be just to keep making this business sustainable as a family business. It's so hard to make this deal work sometimes. But as far as the cattle go, I guess my biggest goal is to produce a line of cattle that are as pretty as anybody's show cattle, and that they have the bone and the good feet and the perfect udder, but still have the carcass traits of an Angus cow and be as hardy as a top BOF bull. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. That's kind of one of the bulls that I have lined up, and got a couple of heifers that I'm IVFing and calving and getting ready to try to make that happen.
But when you say that, you're talking about the different types of bulls you got. I mean, you can see that goal in the way you got your bulls lined up, like you were saying. I mean, Emmons' bulls are kind of known for show bulls, and you got Big Tex as the BOF type hardiness bull, and Game Day is a good looking bull with a good cow line behind them. I mean, that's pretty neat.
I think this breed has everything that anybody needs to make it in the cow business, as long as you stay open-minded.
Yeah, I mean, and something else that kind of interests me and stands out to me with your bulls, and I'd say your females are probably that way too, is anything, you can take a game day calf and stick it on or have a game day and stick it on a big Tex or something, and you're going to have these outcrosses that ought to really pop.
That's correct. I have a black heifer in this year's sale that's polled. She's out of a Big Tex daughter in the Rock, and Jared and his dad saw her last year when they came over here and looked at sale cattle, and she's in this year's sale, and it's amazing that what you can do with some of those options. She's just super thick, lots of bone, super powerful, and polled, and still has that pretty good looking head.
Well, I remember her, and about every couple of months with Dad's like, well, I wonder what that heifer's looking like. I hope he's going to sell her this time. So I think she's on the list already. But no, what you're saying though, that what you're talking about, you see all that in that animal, and she's awful good. Folks ought to be really looking at her.
Well, and two, it goes back to what you said to begin with, the family business. A lot of times, that's kind of where we're at. Over here is me and my wife and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. We're all in together, so it is a family business. You can do it with the family, and that's probably the most. Well, it's not probably. It is the most important thing, and it's pretty cool that you can do it. In the cow business and have a business. Make a living or however you do it, if it's just your side business or whatever, but you still have your family with you. That's really important.
It is important. It can create stress for a family. You don't have the guaranteed check every week, and what your cattle bring is not really left up to you. So it creates stress, but it's still a lot of fun.
Well, just kind of leading into the next thing, we talked a little bit about your sale coming up and what may be in it. For the folks that don't know, when is it? And can just tell us whatever you want to. Here's your chance to advertise for it and let us know what you got going on.
Okay, our sale is August the 6th. Be held in Lexington, Tennessee again. This will be the third time that it's been in Lexington. We're going to have 48 lots with 5 bull lots, 1 pick of bulls, and the rest of them will be females, except for I think there's a couple of embryo lots and then 1 semen lot. There'll be a meal on Friday night provided by Ty AG. He's done that the last couple of years, and he's a good friend of mine and does a very good job. Hope everybody can make it on Friday night. The video and the catalogs are just about finished, so they'll be going out, if not next week, the next. And I don't know. That's about all I can tell you about the sale.
Be on DB auction.
It'll be on DB auctions, Ideal Video, BBU website, JNT Farms website. So there should be plenty of places to.
And the sale's gonna be at the First Farmers Co-op in Lexington, right?
Correct.
And that's a good place.
Check out.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's a good place. Comfortable.
It's just right for the size sale that we have. It might get a little tight for a big sale, but for around 50 lots, I think it's really good.
And what else is good is, like from here, it's 7.5 hours, but it's so easy to get to. That's the good part about that sale barn is, I mean, it's directly off the interstate. So folks coming from whichever direction, it's not hard to get to, east, west, north, south. I mean, it's, what is it, 3 miles, I think, off the interstate. So it's not bad.
That's about right. It's about 3 miles off Interstate 40 there at the Lexington exit.
So moving forward, talking about other sales, if folks may not can make it to your sale, your production sale, were some other sales that you have that maybe out of the country that you can sign to, or groups or whatever, that they might see your cattle at that?
Besides my sale, we participate in the SEBA sale, the Southern Alliance sale, which the Southern Alliance sale has already taken place. The SEBA sale will be 3 weeks after our sale at the same Lexington location. And then we consign to both Houston sales, the STBBA sale and the Houston Magic sale. For the last couple of years, we've consigned to the Central State sale, which is managed by Derek Frenzel and has lots of super members over there. Lots of people attend that sale, lots of consigners and lots of buyers. It's a really good sale. And I guess this will be the third year in a row that we're going to Arkansas. Ty A.G. and Larry Larimore handle that sale, and they do a really good job. It's a really good weekend. And then this spring, for the first time, we went to Springfield and participated in the OHOA sale. And that was a great weekend also. We met a bunch of nice people that we had never seen before, cows we'd never seen before. And so it was just a totally new experience. And then we'll be going to the Next Gen Bull Sale in September. And that's pretty much what we do currently. In the past, we have participated in the Collier Farms Advantage Sale, the Collier Bull Sale, and the BOF Bull Sales.
So you've got genetics all over the place.
Well, my wife says that we travel way too much. So
it's really fun though, huh?
Well, it is going. Sometimes when you get ready to come home, you're like, oof, you got 7 or 8 hour drive back. And she's not much on the trailer pulling, so it can be a challenge.
I know what you mean. It's 7 to 8 hours to anywhere from here. So at least, so I get it. That drive home is where driving out's not bad. You're excited, you're pumped up, ready to sell some cows, maybe buy a couple. And then you get ready to come home and you're like, oof, I don't know about this.
Yeah. Especially when it's 2 weekends in a row or something like that, or 3 weekends out of a month. When I was on the board, I don't know how many times one year we went to Texas, but it seemed like, and the GPS took us a different route every time. So
say lots of country.
Lots of country.
About the way that goes. MGPS is, I don't know, they've probably got me lost more times than they've got me where I needed to go.
They can put you on a road that you're not too confident in, I can tell you.
Especially with a load of cows.
Especially with a trailer and a load of cows. That's exactly right.
Yeah, it gets real narrow, real fast. Well, I guess this is sort of one of the last questions we have for you tonight, but we ask everybody this question, and we sometimes get the same answer. We kind of get the same direction answer, but we do get different variations of it. So for you, what is one piece of advice you would give to a new breeder, fresh, just starting out?
Well, I heard the advice that Clark gave, which was take your time, and that's excellent advice, especially for somebody like me. I didn't do a very good job at that, but I think that's really great advice. But I tried to think of something different. So my advice would be do your homework. And that's a little bit more complex than just do your homework. The first thing I would do on doing my homework would be check your stress tolerance, because this business it's one of the few businesses I know of that you can feel like you're on top of the world 1 minute, and the next minute you think the world's on top of you. And then
That's That's the truth.
seems like in this business and kind of what you said, just seems like we have the highest highs and the lowest lows.
I mean, your world can change just by a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, I can remember buying 3 straws of painted tiger semen years ago. I'd bought Wicked Witch. She had been averaging 40 something embryos and, 3 straws of high dollar semen, and we didn't get anything.
Ooh.
So, I mean, it can be bad and it can be good. I mean, it can switch from bad to good or good to bad just as quickly as the other.
I agree with that. It's amazing how fast it can go from good to bad and from bad to good.
That's exactly it. So that's the first thing. People that, if you're just going to have 1 or 2, it's probably not a big deal. But if you're going to try to make a goal of this to where, you're going to spend money and it's going to be inconvenient as far as the money you spend and the time you spend and the work involved, I'd check my stress level. If I couldn't take much stress, I probably wouldn't try it. But another important thing I think, as far as doing your homework, would be to decide what type of Beefmaster cattle that you like. And once you do that, figure out if you can sell them and where you're going to sell them. Because we have such a diverse breed, which is good in ways that, I mean, we have cattle that go out west. I see that Doug Johnson's post on Facebook, and those cattle are surviving on and thriving on not very much feed. And then we have cattle in South Texas, and then we have black cattle in the Midwest and show cattle. So it's really a diverse breed with, varying body types, polled versus horned. And then you got all the different groups. So it can be a challenge. You need to figure out what you like. Don't start buying one here and one there and everywhere until you kind of figure out what direction you're going to go.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. That was all that you said was really good advice.
Yeah, I agree with it. Especially your stress level tolerance, just how much you want to take. And that could mean not getting as many, or something like that too. It doesn't necessarily mean not getting into it. That just may mean you may think you can handle 60, but your stress level probably can only handle 20 or 30. So,
and I
Right.
think, and if there's commercial type people out here, I think that's a good advice for you as well. Because just like I'm sure Jerry could come on that, being in the commercial business too. It's the same way. It can be good 1 minute and bad the next time you open the gate, go in the pasture. So
That's right. I was told one time that the average seed stock breeder lasted 3 to 5 years. And I don't know if that still holds true, but I would say it's probably just some people just don't have the stomach to take all those beatings that you take growing into where you need to be.
yeah,
I agree with that.
Definitely a growing process and a long-term game. Kind of like even going all the way back to the very first or 2 episodes, we've talked about it in the past. It's a long-term type of game, and you got to see it all the way through if you're going to make it to the end goal.
It's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
That's exactly it. It's a marathon. It's tough to figure when you flush a cow today or breed a cow, buy a straw semen that you've been looking at a bull, and you breed a cow today and it's next spring before she has a calf, and then it's the next spring before it's a yearling, and it may be the next spring before you get any cash flow. So it's not a very quick process, and sometimes that can lead to heartache and stress, and people just say, it's not for me.
Yeah. They do. But, and I tell you, Jerry, it seems like, you've got some really good cattle. You got a great family. Love seeing you every time we go to sales. So I appreciate you coming on tonight. Taking time out of your evening to come on with us. And talk about your herd, your sales, what brought you here, it's good for people to hear different folks' stories. And I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you coming on this evening.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and hopefully I didn't mess that up too bad.
Oh no, it was awesome.
Yeah, you
But
did
we
great.
are completely out of time. But we have a lot of new episodes coming up, a lot of people lined up. So always keep checking back. And Jerry, we appreciate it. Hope you all have a good night.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
See you.
Well, we want to thank everybody for listening to the Beefmaster Banner podcast. Please know that we are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and we are on YouTube. Just search Beefmaster Banner. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We love hearing from you. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.